watching Transit Talks, and today I'm here with
Christine Lewis. I serve on Metro Council representing District 2, which is largely Clackamas County, but also parts of Southwest Portland.
Councilor Lewis. When is the last time you rode the bus?
Yesterday.
What has your experience been like being on transit lines that don't run as frequently? What are the challenges but also opportunities that come with having it at all?
Yeah, hourly service is really frustrating because if you miss your bus, you might as well just give up your trip. Or at that point, you're taking your car, calling a friend, calling a Lyft.
What does that mean for the non-drivers in your area?
Yeah, I think it means that they're spending a lot more time waiting for a bus than actually on the bus or on their commute.
Did you grow up riding transit?
I didn't. I grew up close to a transit stop, but didn't really take transit. My dad would take it on a snowy day when he didn't want to drive, but grew up in a very car-oriented part of the country and a very car-oriented family.
What was your introduction to transit?
You know, my middle school, we took a trip when they did the new light rail line. And it was a field trip just to go ride the new light rail line. And that was pretty cool and pretty formative experience.
We didn't capture it on camera, but you just helped us make a perfect transfer at the Oregon City.
What, are you telling the world that I jaywalked and ran a little bit?
A little bit. I wanted to talk a little bit about, I guess, the land use around the Oregon City Transit Center. I mean, I'm a little obsessed with KFC-oriented transit development.
I'm more Taco Bell.
Ooh, huge. What do you know about the land use around that area and how we can make the most of it?
Yeah, well, the Oregon City Transit Center is on the Main Street in the historic Main Street part of downtown. It is definitely a transit center that's in need of some modernization, and last I heard there are federal funds coming for that. But yeah, it's 3 brick pillars and a bunch of parking spots for buses. Yes, there's KFC. I think there's also a place you can buy a boat.
Oh.
Not a lot of places that you can spend 15 minutes getting a cup of coffee, though.
Yeah.
If you walk further down Main Street, there are some great, cute cafes, a great bookshop, but those are 4 or 5 blocks away.
The difference between the hourly service versus being on this bus that has frequent service, I mean, very immediate, noticeable difference in usage.
Absolutely. And I also think the opportunity to hop on a bus without looking at a schedule is what we all want, because we are all trained to this idea of on demand, whether it's your own car or calling a car. So if you can hop on the bus and know that, 12 minutes, you can wait the better half of 12 minutes or even the full 12 minutes. It doesn't work to wait 45, 55 minutes. That's too long. So making sure that we're meeting people where they're at now with this really common conception of on-demand service being what we're aiming for.
And hey, dogs ride the bus too. Love. When you see empty buses, there can be this misconception that no one needs it, no one uses it.
Yeah.
It's like,
if somebody's on that empty bus, it's because they really need it.
they really need it, exactly.
Because they've waited, they've planned their entire day around it. Or they put in shifts that only work with that schedule.
Exactly. Well, for context of where we're at in our journey, we totally could have kept riding the bus all the way to downtown Milwaukee, but we wanted to stop and talk about the Orange Line. I think, on the rest of our bus journey, the bus got so busy we had to stop filming, which, again, Clackamas County rides the bus. But here we are at the end of the Orange Line, the Park Ave stop. And I forget, aren't they redoing the parking garage?
The third level of the parking garage just got put on.
Oh, great, yeah.
Because when we built this, we didn't actually think people were going to park and ride. And lo and behold, that parking garage was full up every morning to the extent that a lot of people, myself included, would just drive on by. Because if the parking garage was full, you were going to either go park in a neighborhood and take it from someplace else, or you were just going to keep driving.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually now have the capacity that I think we originally had designed for.
I would love to see more housing more dense housing be right here would be so cool.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the lack of housing is because of the parking garage, right?
No.
I think it's because we have, again, storage units 2 blocks away, a boat lot a block away, almost vacant lots, right? Like, that's where we need to be better at activating. And I'd say across Portland and not just on this line, the storage units next to high capacity transit makes almost no sense to me, but we see it all over the place, even inner east side Portland.
Why is it important that decision makers ride transit?
Well, I think that the opportunity to have these things that you read about or the statistics actually makes sense on the ground level. That really matters. I also think it's important to have a representative government, and in the way that there are folks who bring all sorts of lived experience, transit use is just one more kind of texture of how you see the world and what impacts decisions make.
There are a lot of people who do have very valid, real concerns about personal safety when riding transit and stuff, and we aren't experiencing any of those issues today. And I feel like a lot of people were maybe driven away from riding transit because of stuff they've seen in the past. I guess, how do we challenge that narrative that we shouldn't invest in transit because of public safety issues?
Yeah, I think that the way that we work through that is by really recognizing that when the majority of people, either at a stop or on a bus or on a train, are working with our normal social norms, then the system works and we have enough protocol in place basically to take care of each other. But when we don't have that kind of density of people conforming to social norms, that's when the system breaks down, because you don't have enough eyes, you don't have enough reporters, you don't have enough people to intervene. So we do have to just talk about, like, it takes all of us committing to transit, and we also know ourselves and we know our levels of comfort and risk. And if you don't want to travel at night, you don't have to travel at night.
100%.
If you don't feel safe on a certain line, you don't feel safe on a certain line. But we can all find places where transit is okay and accessible for us.
So there's a temporary bus stop situation here, and the buses aren't allowed to dwell. And we're pretty sure that the connection that we were supposed to make is the bus that pulled off right before the bus that we were on stopped here. So now we have to wait almost an hour because the bus only comes once an hour, which means that anyone who was on that bus who needed to transfer has to wait an hour because the connection wasn't timed right. We decided to walk across the historic Arch Bridge and come to the stop on this side, only to find out that there are absolutely no curb cuts to get to this bus stop. We ended up just jaywalking across the street and having to lift my scooter up onto the sidewalk. And is this, what jurisdiction?
This is City of West Linn.
So, City of West Linn, we need a curb cut.
And a safe crossing.
And a safe crossing. It feels like there's a lot of opportunity.
There's a lot of opportunity here, and I'd say it goes beyond just lacking density. It's also really complicated from a governance perspective because so much of it is unincorporated. So while there's definitely the same use patterns, there's definitely the same need. I think from a governance perspective, it's complicated because you don't have cities really advocating in the middle. And Clackamas County, they're not able to kind of put maximum effort into multiple corridors at once, even though there's a very present and existing need here.
All right, so thank you for coming on this adventure with us today.
Thank you for coming on my adventure.
Yes. Everyone wants to know, what's your transportation hot take?
When one thing breaks, it all breaks. Right? Like today we saw some really nice clean buses. We saw some really packed buses, but when there was 1 minute where a bus was supposed to wait for us and they didn't, broke down our whole day. When there was pedestrian infrastructure that wasn't there, we nearly didn't make a bus. So the whole system has to work together.
Who do you think should be on Transit Talks next?
Tim Cook, Dr. Tim Cook, who's president of Clackamas Community College. And the population he serves at Clackamas Community College really heavily dependent on transit. So I think he's a lovely human being and would be a fun guy to go out with on a bus.